welcome back to another video of Shaker Boys, and today we are at Tenerife in Fantasia, Bahia, Principe. And today we are going to be reading you the story of Papinda and the Hesperids of the garden. Let's get started. Everyone in town knew Papinda. They knew he never stayed in one place for long. Each time he returned from his travels, he would catalogue everything and organise the notes he'd made in his leather notebook before setting off on a new adventure. Nobody was surprised to see him repainting and polishing his treasured red plane. Everyone could comment on what he was up to, trying to guess where Papinda was off to this time. Ever since he discovered that dreams come true, Papinda had decided to share the magic by creating fantasy worlds. "Where are you going now?" people would ask him. "What are your plans?" But Papinda didn't like to give anything away. He searched of the enchanted island, he would say, which just made them even more curious. And they would all stare at his hat. When the top hat that he always wore began to change colour and lift up slightly, Papinda would take it off and hold it and watch to see which direction it took him in. Papinda knew it was nearly time for his next adventure. He was getting ready. In different books he'd read as a child, he'd come across maps showing a strange island that appeared and disappeared. This magic place had different names depending on each writer. Some called it San Borondo or San Brandon. Others that Lost Island. Others the Lost Islands or the Unreachable. Island. But without a doubt, his favourite name for the strange place was the Enchanted Island. Those who had written about it were amazed by its gardens full of inquiet plants and mythological creatures. Sorry guys, I can't talk today. And now the time had come to set off. The hat began to shake and the deep blue limestone tied to the top of Papinda's walking stick began to glow magically. Papinda leapt into his plane without saying goodbye. He didn't like goodbyes, but the truth is, we never leave our loved ones behind. We take them with us in our hearts. The plane soared above the clouds, and the town below disappeared into the distance as the plane flew on. Papinda was accompanied. I can't speak today.
Can't read.
Papinda was accompanied on his journey by a group of birds, and when he dropped down closer to the sea, he could see dolphins follow in the slipstream of his plane. He never felt lonely because happiness is good company, and Papinda was doing what he liked most, discovering the world around him. A new day dawned and Papinda was tired after flying through the night. He was hungry. He looked at his map. He had arrived at the Canarian Island, but the 8th island above, which he dreamed so much, the enchanted island was nowhere to be seen. The clouds cleared to relieve a beautiful sunny day and the island of Tenerife. From the air he'd seen, its mountains and cliffs, beaches, valleys and pine forests, and something that grabbed his attention. Amongst so much beauty, an enormous volcano. It was so incredible and majestic that Papa completely forgot about being tired and hungry. He decided to explore the island. He flew the plane across the different landscapes and landed so that he could explore on foot. By sundown, he'd seen almost the entire island. He'd reached the highest point of the island where he'd landed. His plane lay down on one of the wings to watch the stunning colours of the sunset. It was paradise. The sky changed from yellow to pink and then to purple. It was spectacular. Stars began to appear in the sky. Night fell across the island. The more distracted he was, Papimba heard the sound of sweet voices. They were singing. He'd never heard anything like it. He looked all around, but there was nobody there. He took off his round glasses and shut his eyes. That's always the best way to let yourself be guided by fantasy. He squeezed his eyes tight shut, and there in front of him were the three nymphs of the evening and the sunset. He'd read so much about them. Sometimes they were called the Hesperids. They were beautiful. The three nymphs each wore different colours, the changing colours of the star at nightfall. They came towards him. Hello, Papimba. They knew his name. The volcano. Suddenly he taken a violent turn. It began to erupt, bubbling with lava and belching smoke into the sky. Menagically, I think that says. Papimba searched through his bag. He opened his notebook to a page where he had jotted down the legend of the enchanted island. His notebook contained all the mysterious. He read the story of the garden of the Hesperids and Landon the dragon. Ladon. Who lived in the crater of the volcano. The dragon who guards our garden has awoken. One of the nymphs warned him. You must go. So they are the nymphs, and these are some of the colours of the star. This picture will be a little bit darker, so if you can't see the star, try and look closer. We'll point it out. But Papimba wasn't ready to leave without solving the enigma. knew that Aladdin was a giant dragon who guarded the garden of Hesperides and its treasures. The goddess Hera had entrusted Aladdin with guarding the golden apples hanging from one of the garden trees. Papenburg began to climb. It was difficult, but his curiosity drove him on. He had never seen a dragon and couldn't imagine the magical apples that, according to legend, would make everyone who ate them immortal. So if you see, that's the star that was the goddess, and this is Aladdin, that's Papenburg. These are the golden apples. They might look like oranges or peaches, but they are golden apples. And it might get a little bit confusing in the story because somewhere in the story it might say that Aladdin has more than one head, but he actually doesn't. He approached the entrance to the crater of the volcano. The tree of golden apples shone like 1,000 suns. Aladdin the dragon emerged, ready to defend it. The dragon didn't look very dangerous from far away, but when anyone tried to approach it, began to writhe, I think that says, writhe, and from its neck sprang brand new heads. I didn't see that. One after another, all breathing fire. But if you stopped trying to reach the tree, the dragon began to relax and speak to the invader, each of its 100 heads speaking in a different language. It was madness. So many languages and so many voices. Papenburg didn't know what language would be best to calm the dragon. He is dying, explained one of the nymphs. He barely has the strength to leave the volcano, but he will guard the apples until the end. Sometimes we steal one, admitted the nymph in the darkest dress. We wait until he's exhausted and then we creep over silently. If you wait a while, we'll help you to trick him. But Papenburg had a good heart. However, furiously Aladdin seemed to be. Papenburg didn't want to make him suffer any more than necessary. He tried to calm the dragon. While one of the dragon's heads was trying to understand what Papenburg was saying, the nymphs grabbed a golden apple, teasing the animal. They gave it to Papenburg. On seeing this, Aladdin became ever more desperate. He roared even louder. He writhed in pain. His many mouths seemed to breathe less fire. The volcano eruption was also slowing.
You make my fall asleep being ready.
In the cave, the lava, how do you spell lava?
Lava.
Lava.
Yeah, that's how you spell lava.
The lava glowed
It's like lava.
less brightly. It all seemed to be part of the beginnings of the end of Laden the dragon. With a word,
What are you saying off for? He's evil.
so it's still a living animal. Without a word, Pappin Bear held out his hand to show the dragon the golden apple that one of the nymphs had given him. Laden was exhausted. He could barely move. Pappin Bear took his chance. He threw the precious apple into one of the dragon's mouths. At the moment, something miraculous happened. The dragon's 100 heads transformed into the branches of an enormous tree. His legs and tail dug into the ground as roots. See, now we know why the tree outside is all twisted.
Yeah.
See, guys, that used to be the dragon. See, this bit, well, the tree might have mixed
Because
into
I don't
the dragon.
I don't think they've seen the tree yet outside.
No,
That's
because
what
we haven't got a view.
That's what it looks like.
Yes, but it doesn't have any of this around because it's around the pillar, one of them.
And if you haven't seen our other video, we will show you the picture on here of the castle.
You choose well, admitted one of the nymphs. You are very generous. Instead of keeping the apple for yourself, you gave the gift of immortality.
Immortalism?
Immortality. Thank you, Nana. To the dragon.
Thank you, Nana!
Its energy will give life to the trees that will grow on the island. The red sap of the dragon tree will
Is that a blood of the dragon?
Yes, probably. Tree will remind us of the fire of Laden. That's not the blood. It says the red will represent the fire of Laden. We thought it was going to be blood. Fire of Laden. The dragon. And we will have to curative. I better read that first time. Where am I up to?
Curative.
Powers of the apple that you gave so generously. Powers of the apple that you so generously gave him. Thank you, said the third nymph. And as the three spoke, they began to grow in size. Their skirts got longer and longer, lifting them up until they were more points of light. See, these are the three nymphs. That's Laden.
The tree.
At the end, once I've finished reading this book, we are going to tell you a little bit more about like the restaurants. And some of the restaurants' names are in this.
Like Aladdin.
To make sure he could still see them, Pappin Bear opened his eye as wide as he could. As he did so, he realized he'd been asleep. He'd been dreaming, but something told him that his dream had come true. A huge dragon tree, proud and imposing, leaned over him. Pappin Bear understood now. He struck the
Limestone.
No,
Larimar stone.
Larimar stone of his walking stick against the ground where the volcano Larimar.
What?
Whatever.